WNIE Radio is sponsored by Kaizen, Axon Micronic, Ursa, Nordson, BTU, Saki, Viscom, Indian Corporation, Aegis Software and Co Young. Hi, so I'm here with Andy Naisbitt and Steve Collier from GEN3. Welcome, guys.
Good morning, Kirsty.
Good
How
morning.
are you both?
Good, thank you.
Good. For our listeners who may be unfamiliar, can you tell us a bit about GEN3 and Zestron?
Sure. So GEN3, we're a business that's been around for over 50 years now. We are a company that manufactures equipment that tests the reliability of electronics, but we're also a distributor for principals, both globally as well as for the UK market. In terms of manufacturing, our vision at GEN3 is to be the leading provider of reliability assurance equipment and solutions to the electronics industry. So some of our core focuses are things like surface insulation resistance testing, cathodic anodic filament testing, ionic contamination testing, solderability testing. Those are areas that we have core skills in manufacturing, but we're also a big part of cleaning with some of our principals, which Zestron, of course, is one of the key ones, a new one for us, as well as companies such as Embitech. But we're also in other areas such as interconnect reliability, with a recent partnership with RAS, Reliability Assessment Services, for their HAT tester, highly accelerated thermal shock. And we also look after things like AOI with NEK, as well as advanced rework with Finetech, for example. So we've got a number of fingers in different pies and things like that. So we're very busy. And of course, Zestron is one of the key partnerships that we've come on recently with the cleaning chemistry and reliability services that we can offer with Zestron.
And that strategic partnership was formed last year. And I was invited by GEN3 to join them as a technical specialist to mainly look after the Zestron products and services, which are cleaning agents and also the test services, and from Zestron reliability and surfaces, which Zestron offers now through GEN3.
So how important is cleaning validation, especially for today's high reliability sectors like aerospace or medical devices?
Cleaning validation, absolutely critical, especially in areas like aerospace, medical devices. Failure isn't just costly, it can be catastrophic. Fundamentally, we're looking at something where if something were to fail, someone might die. So having validation, especially with cleaning, is crucial when you've got contamination that can lead to something like corrosion or electrical leakage that can not just show up, the day you make the board, it could show up years down the line. So validation is going to give manufacturers the confidence that their processes are really under control, and it's never enough. It's not enough to just assume that your assembly is clean. So regulations, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on, are now requiring manufacturers to prove that what they've got is reliable. So that's where we fit in with cleaning validation.
Okay, and on that note, how do you help customers find the most suitable chemistry?
It's important for customers to remember that the chemistry is part of a process. It's important to consider cleaning as a process and not just as a drop-in kind of fix for something which the customer may not have considered at the start when they're manufacturing, at the start of their process. Cleaning is often the afterthought that customers want to add later on, but maybe don't have the budget. So from a GEN3 point of view, we have the expertise, we have the cleaning chemistries from Zestron, we have the equipment from Embitech, and we also have a great deal of experience in being able to offer advice to customers on how to implement cleaning processes, and more importantly, perhaps how to manage those processes and make sure the processes are in control and that they're giving them value for money and giving them the result that they require for reliable equipment.
Are there any chemistries that are particularly popular?
Yes, from a Zestron perspective, one of our most used chemistries is Vigon N600, which is a multi-phase water-based cleaning agent designed specifically to penetrate under low standoff components. So that is one of the most popular ones from the pH neutral chemistries that Zestron have. Vigon A201 is an alkaline chemistry, which is very long proven, but some customers prefer now to go down the pH neutral route. And for those that require a solvent cleaning agent, we have Zestron FA+, which is very well proven in both aerospace and general manufacturing.
Thank you, Steve. Another key reason for the Zestron Gen3 partnership is the alignment in your reliability missions and the test services you both offer. What services can you offer to customers?
Well, quite a variety. So, as you correctly stated, with our strategic partnership with Zestron, we can help our UK-based customers utilize a lot of the Zestron test lab and reliability services lab. So, combined with our own test lab and test service offering that we do at Gen3, we cover off an awful lot of testing that customers will be looking for. So, for example, ionic contamination testing or process ionic contamination testing we do, surface insulation resistance testing, the CAF testing, conductive anodic filament testing. We can do everything out of Gen 3. But then, like I said, combined with the Zestron side of things, we can do ion chromatography, FTIR, the Fourier transform, infrared spectroscopy, much easier FTIR, isn't it? And then things like SEM as well. So we really do cover a number of things. And of course, one of the key things that I'm sure Steve can add on to this is some of the quick tests that we do. So the coating layer tests, the flux residue tests, and these are things that are able to be done by the customer on their premises for quick tests, as they're called, to be able to quickly tell you if there's a problem or such. So we really do provide a comprehensive amount of analytical tests to ensure reliability.
And how does outsourcing testing compare to the customer doing everything in-house?
It's one of those things, isn't it, where we live and breathe this. This is what we do. This is our bread and butter, which is reliability testing. So we help write the standards for the industry. We have world leaders in what we do for both our manufactured equipment as well as our partners that we work with. So there's a lot of cost that can be done by setting it up in-house. We have it all here ready to go. So in-house testing can be expensive, time-consuming, and hard to maintain with some consistency. You've got to learn quite a lot to get it set up. That's where, like I said, we do this day in, day out. We're helping to interpret results, identify risks, and we can help improve processes. And we are also, on one aspect, a third-party view. So, we can provide assessments of results that we may not know who the customer is, but we can certainly say whether a result looks good or bad, if that makes sense. So there's benefits to bringing it outsourcing, like I said, but there is still certain value in certain positions where in-house testing would be very much better, especially if you've got very sensitive boards and things like that can't be sent externally.
Steve, I understand you joined the team earlier this year.
Yes, it was a very nice opportunity for me to join Gen3. I worked for Zestron for many years, so I have a lot of experience with the products and with the test services that Zestron offer. And it has fantastic synergy. Zestron working together with Gen3, as Andy mentioned earlier, gives the customer access to a very wide variety of test facilities. The possibility to produce reports, written reports, and offer advice to customers on how to improve their process control, but also, more importantly, their reliability of their processes and the reliability of the products that they produce.
Okay, and regarding the cleanliness testing, is that something that you're seeing more demand from customers for?
Yes, definitely. There is a greater realization, particularly as Andy mentioned earlier on, with the changing and the updating of the standards for cleanliness within the electronics industry. And from that point of view, we have now the AW Technical Center at Gen3 where we can perform cleaning trials. But we also offer things like the quick tests, the flux test, and resin test kits, which are very quick tests to show on the shop floor if there is any flux contamination or resin contamination on PCB. And another important topic is coating. So the coating reliability test is another very quick test, which will show if there's any insufficiency in coating in a particular area or if there's a problem with edge definition. So customers are becoming more aware, and it's a question of making sure that they understand what facilities and what tests and what options they have to help them to improve the quality of their products.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of the electronics manufacturing industry as a whole, what are some of the key trends that you're currently seeing?
So more and more customers are looking now towards moving perhaps to the water-based or semi-aqueous processes. A lot of traditional processes are HFE processes, which use chemicals or use products which are not so environmentally friendly. And the trend is to try to move away from those to a more cost-effective process, because those chemicals, by virtue of the fact that they are not so environmentally friendly, have become extremely expensive. So offering a cost-effective process with a water-based or a semi-aqueous process is the trend that we're seeing customers move towards.
Thank you, Steve. Andy, how do you see the role of compliance and international standards such as IPC shaping your customers' approach to testing and cleaning?
First of all, we have to look at standards, that they are the safety net, if you like. They are the very backbone of how customers should look at testing and cleaning. If they're bringing on a process, you generally would look at standards. So, you can consider them not just as guidelines. Some of them can be expectations on what you need to be doing, especially with some of the changes that we've seen recently when it comes to the removal of the changes to the ROSE test, for example, for ionic contamination testing. But of course, standards aren't, they're also, like I said, kind of a safety net, if you like. They are the minimum level expectation. We have lots of customers who are doing amazing things with research and development and new designs or new materials that they're testing. And that's where we work with both areas. We at Gen3 have helped write the standards for the industry for over 35 years in everything that we do when it comes to the manufacturing side. So we're very, very deep in terms of the science as to be behind what we do. But at the same time, we've also built our equipment. We've also worked on a number of collaborative studies for research and development with partners who are doing things in a very new way, because that's where the future's going. All the miniaturization of components, all the track spacings getting smaller and smaller. So having both things to look at, where you've got that standards to look at as well as looking to the future, then we can help translate those standards into testing, into validation. So we're not just ticking boxes like we've completed this standard. We can build reliability into every product because of our experience with both sides of R&D as well as the standards expectations.
How is Gen3 staying ahead in the market that's becoming increasingly demanding and regulation driven?
Well, we've touched on a little bit with the passion that we have for setting global standards, helping write the standards for the industry. We participate in an awful lot of R&D projects with trade bodies, where we work with some huge multinational companies on new trends in the equipment that we're sort of focused on. But it's also being open to partner with companies that are also world leaders. So Zestron are such a great example. It's awesome to work with a company that Zestron, they are the #1 cleaning chemistry manufacturer in the world. And it's not just the product that's good, it's all of the services that go with it. So, for us, we want to be able to move with the times, to be future-proofed, and partnering with certain companies like this puts us in a very strong position. But also, our own R&D work and our own partnerships with companies and trade bodies really keeps us at the coalface, if you like, of what's coming next. So what we really want to do is it's all about really making reliability measurable, repeatable, and standards ready.
What should a prospective customer think about when deciding whether to invest in a test service or cleaning validation?
This comes down to what is the cost of your failure, really. I think it's a pretty common, well-known, reliability issues can lead to recalls, rework, or, brand damage. I mean, you've seen lots of stories in the news in the past of, large car manufacturers having massive recalls, costing a fortune. So understanding the risks in your process is critical. And that's where test services that we have, like SIR or ionic contamination testing, can give you the data to make informed decisions. Cleaning validation, though, on the other hand, ensures your process is doing what you think it is.
I think if I pick up on it, customers are always looking to be as cost effective as they can in their process. And that's one reason why many are perhaps a bit more reluctant to invest in what they see as a cleaning process, which is something which doesn't necessarily add value to the product that they're producing. However, that's kind of a bit of a false thought, because as Andy mentioned, reliability has to be one of the key factors, particularly in aerospace and automotive manufacturing, where a failure can be very costly. You don't want to have a critical failure in an aircraft or a piece of equipment that is airborne, or in a car, it can be absolutely safety critical. For example, if the adaptive cruise fails, it's only got to fail once, it could be a fatal accident. So it's really important to understand how your products affect the end user, and the reliability of them is a critical factor. It's also a cost thing, because as Andy mentioned, having recalls, having to do costly rework is something which customers really don't want to have. So just considering and then investing in a cleaning process and coming to someone like Gen3 for advice is the way forward. And that, I think, is the message that we want to get out to the market, that there is help and advice available to help you to ensure that your products, particularly safety critical products, are fit for purpose.
Brilliant, thank you. So if someone wants to start working with Gen3, what's the best way to start that conversation?
I think it's important that a customer recognises that they have a need. And from the point of view of starting the conversation, we would always be there to help and support by giving advice, but we need the customer to understand that there is a need. So looking at things like, our website, the Zestron website, these podcasts, the videos and so on, seeing those and reaching out is a good way forward. But understanding that there is a need is really important, because many customers don't really feel that they need to spend the money or the resource on cleaning. So it's important to remember it's a process, and it's not just cleaning for the sake of it. And there are some products that may not need or require cleaning, but in the high-tech world of aerospace, automotive, and medical, it's absolutely a must for them to at least consider the cleanliness and the validity of their processes to make sure that the products are safe and are manufactured in a cost-effective way.
Brilliant, thank you, Steve. Andy, any exciting developments or upcoming innovations from Gen3 that you can give us a sneak peek into?
There's definitely a lot going on that we're really excited about. We have got a product launch that we've created ourselves that we're going to be launching hopefully pretty soon, in the next month or so, which I can't really share too much details on right at this stage. But what I can say is that the products that we're working on, certainly with this, is aligning strongly with our vision that I said before of leading provider of reliability assurance equipment. So it's in that sphere, if you like. And we've also got some really interesting conversations going on with some other prospective partners, which would be quite exciting as well. So lots going on.
Can potential customers see you at any trade shows this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We've just signed up, obviously, for Productronica is the big one in Munich in November. So we will certainly be there showcasing one of our new products that I just mentioned that we'll be launching, as well as the real first launch of the HATS highly accelerated thermal shock tester that we'll have there, as I mentioned before, with our partnership with Reliability Assessment Solutions. This is a really exciting product for us, which really closes the loop. We've very much been in material testing. Now we're looking at the actual interconnect of the board testing. So via reliability and in-time solder joint reliability. And it's an incredible machine that we're really excited about having at Productronica as well. So yes, we will be there.
And just from a Zestron perspective, one of the focuses has been the products that are offered for power electronics. There's a whole suite of products which are available for cleaning products in power electronics. And there's a lot of investment in the UK at the moment in the semiconductor industry, and also the announcement about the investment in the military or the armed forces. That should and will throw up opportunities for Gen3, and in combination with Zestron, looking, as we spoke earlier on, about making sure that the products that are manufactured and the expanded opportunities in that sector are covered by Gen3.
Yeah, definitely some busy times ahead with that announcement, I believe. Okay, well, great to talk to you both. Thanks for joining WNIE TV.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Students